Today I'll be showing you a simple glazing technique to achieve really strong lights and darks. I'm going to be mixing Verdian and alizarin crimson to make a nice gray to use for it. It's not necessary to use gray, you can use any color. I'm probably not going to even make it completely gray, just to help show the technique. It's going to be slightly red. So first you want to establish your light source, of course. So mine's going to come from somewhere over here. So that to be perfect. It's just something to go off of to help. So first I like to wet my brush a little bit, have a little bit of water in the brush to pick up some paint. And start on the opposite side, where you want to start with your dark side. In watercolor it's easiest to go from dark to light. So you're going to start on the darkest edge. It's going to be somewhere over here. You just want to go in there with your color. Now it's not going to be perfect because I don't want to take too much time on this. I don't want to be super long. This isn't really red, actually, it's just really gray. So now you want to start to lighten it. So what I do is I clean my brush completely and I slightly dry it. This is just going to allow you to make an easy blend. So you want to start like kind of like scrumbling like you would use in graphite, doing little circular motions. Just blend nicely. Clean your brush again, dry it some, continue doing that. Now you can like try to go back, but I would always recommend doing this because it'll start to actually like build up the watercolor and like start to make kind of like a line around the edge, and you don't always want that. I mean, if that's kind of look you're going for, then it's certainly fine to do that. It doesn't really matter. I usually do it a lot in the stuff I do, but if you don't want that, don't do it. I feel like if you're going for like realism or something like that, which you can achieve realism from this technique. Now, I personally never do my blends like perfectly because I think it gives it more character. But if you want a perfect blend, just keep working at it. And I always clean my brush and then dry it a little bit before I go back to it when I'm done in a certain little area. I do that quite a bit. Now, when you're happy with the layer you have, you can stop and wait. You want to stop and you want to just wait till it dries. Okay, once it is dry, you want to go back for layer 2. This technique is all about layering, hence why it's called glazing. So you just want to start at your darkest area, just like layer 1. Remember, in watercolor, the more water is in your paint, the darker it's going to be. The less water, the lighter it's going to be. Keep working around, keeping the shape of the sphere. Don't I'll just go randomly. Remember to clean your brush and dry it off a little bit. Try to remember to go back, to backtrack as least as possible. Unless necessary. See, it's going to be necessary to do it right now. And I'll actually show you what happens and why it's not the best. You see how I'm kind of pushing the paint back? And what's going to happen is when I get to the edge, it's actually going to leave like a line. And it's not really, it's hard to avoid actually. It just comes with practice, I guess, to not do it. I still do it a lot. Just continue to work your color. Sometimes I like just to tap the brush because it'll lift some of the paint up and it'll help blend it easier. But be careful to go into lighter areas because it might make it dark like that. But it's watercolor that can be actually really forgiving, especially if you're using good paper. Watercolor's all in the paper. Paper's more important than the paint, in my opinion. Now, just want to let that dry again, and then you can go to the next layer. Now it's time for layer 3. Just do the same thing with past layers. Start from the darkest side. Remember to clean your brush, dry it a little bit, keep on working it. Now another way to blend like this is you can go back to your paint, just add more water and then add the paint like that, but I personally don't like doing that. I just like pulling the paint and getting it lighter as I go. Either way works. You might be able to get cleaner blends if you go back to the paint, add more water and put more paint on the brush like that, but it's personal preference really. One thing you want to be careful about when you're doing this technique is to not get too much water on the brush when you go back, because that could cause water blooms and that could completely ruin it. Unless that's something you enjoy. And also when you're working with watercolor, make sure your pencil lines are not this dark, but it's just a tutorial, so it doesn't really matter in this case. Oops, outside the line. That doesn't matter. Might want to be more careful if you're making an actual painting. Now I'm just going to start to apply a small shadow somewhere around here. And you probably should wait until it dries, but whatever, doesn't really matter in this case. Maybe add a little horizon line to help ground it better. Pulling the horizon line down a bit. Whatever you want to do. It's your painting. Whatever makes you happy, you should do that. Don't have to follow the rules. These aren't. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. Remember that. Don't care what other people think about your work. It's all about you, not them. If you're not happy with your work, change it up. When you're done with that layer, let it dry some more. Now for the next layer. This is probably the last layer I'll be doing for the tutorial, but you can keep going as many layers as you want until it's how you want it. The more layers you do, the better it's gonna look. Well, in most cases, not necessarily, but like your lights are gonna be stronger and your darks are gonna be stronger. I think I got that gray. Let me just check that. Yeah. So remember to always start over by your darks. Dark to light, dark to light. Probably the most important part. Clean your brush, dry it off. You don't have to have it completely dry. You can have a little bit of water if that's how you wanna. If that's how you like it, it'll be easier to work with actually if there's some more water on it. Usually I like having it almost dry because it picks up some of the paint, helps it moves like the paint. Yeah, sometimes it's easier to blend it like that, sometimes it's not. It really depends. Oops, got a little hair on there. Remember, try not to like put your finger directly on there because it make it harder to paint because you'll get oils on there. You might see fingerprints come up. You don't want that. I still do it sometimes though. But also, your fingertips can make actually a good tool to like remove paint and stuff. Sometimes you can use them. You can also make grays from burnt sienna and ultramarine. They make good grays. Usually from Verdian and Alizarin Crimson, it's like more blacker. You can do whatever you want. Shadows should be something like that. Alright, line some more. Blend it a little bit. Put some more values in the right here. There we go. That's looking nice. Oops, kind of messed up like there. You don't want to do that. Let's see if I can fix it. I'm not sure if I can. Yeah, I can. Look at that. Just picked out some more paint. See, look at that. See, I'm starting to make that line I was talking about. It actually doesn't really look that bad. Gives it nice definition. But so that's I'm gonna finish the tutorial right here. Remember, if you can keep going as many layers as you want, get stronger darks and stronger lights, the more layers you do. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe. There will be more.